The Five Nights at Freddy's movie is finally here, and was it worth the wait? Spoiler alert, yes. Five Nights at Freddy's is about a troubled security guard played by Josh Hutcherson, who begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. While staying his first night on the job, he realizes that the late shift at Freddy's won't be so easy to make it through. First of all, fuck the critics. This movie was awesome. But before we get any further, let's talk about how this movie actually came to be. In 2015, an article was posted about Warner Bros. Making the movie, but that was soon debunked after Scott Cawthon, pretty much the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, released a picture on his Twitter with the director's chair standing in front of the Blumhouse logo. But the movie didn't get made easily. It went through several directors and drafts until Emma Tammy, I hope that's how you say her name, was eventually hired to direct the film. Emma Tammy's directing is really great in this. Each shot is framed nicely, and she allows the camera to stay on the animatronics for a solid amount of time whenever they are on screen. It wasn't until late 2022 that we finally got the announcement of filming starting, and it wasn't until May 16th of 2023 that the first teaser was released. So how about the movie itself? Well, it's fucking awesome. Starting with the positives, I think the cast does a fantastic job in this, with the main standouts being Josh Hutcherson, Piper Rubio, and Matthew Lillard. I also think Vanessa is a major improvement from her game counterpart, mostly due to Elizabeth Lilly's performance. I like that she's William's daughter instead of Mike being his son, because it really cements the movie being in its own universe. The animatronics and the pizzeria look amazing. They're all practical, and that brings a lot of life into the film. The music is great. It was made by the Newton brothers, and they do a fantastic job with the original score and help bring the movie up a whole other level. I also love that the Five Nights at Freddy's song, the very first song I reacted to by the Living Tombstone, is in the credits. Really nice job, really surprised me. It was something that was speculated for months, and I'm happy that they actually went through with it by putting it into the movie. The kills are also fairly brutal, but tame at the same time. My favorite has to be Max, who gets ripped in half after being pulled into Freddy's mouth. Another kill highlight is this dude getting eaten by the cupcake. It's a nice bit of dark humor. And now I like to talk about my favorite moments in the film. I absolutely love the scenes with William Afton. He's one of my favorite characters from the games, and Matthew Lillard gives such a great performance as the character and brings a lot of life into the character, making the most of his short screen time, which is only about, 5 minutes, which didn't feel like that when I was watching the movie for the first time. I like the scene with the animatronics making the fort. It's a cute moment that really makes you feel bad for them, and it's also a real bit of there's also a little bit of dark layer to it once you realize that they were just trying to get on Mike and Vanessa's good side. We always knew that about the animatronics being dead kids, but here they utilize it and make them sympathetic rather than just killer robots. The Springlock scene is also a highlight for me because, again, Matthew Lillard sells the scene, and it's oddly brutal for a PG-13 movie. Because I always thought they were going to, show the Springlocks coming into him off-screen, but they give us a close-up of the Springlocks going in and just a tiny bit of blood coming out, which, if I'm being honest, despite, not really caring about the PG-13 rating, I could have done with an R. I would like a brutal Springlock scene. Maybe that they can do that for the sequel. Maybe. Who knows? I like the way he says the iconic line.
I always come back.
It really makes it seem like he wants the last laugh, but that proves to bite him in the ass when they keep him alive and suffer. I also like the dead kid's dreams, specifically the kid who plays, I'm guessing, Golden Freddy, played by Grant Feely. He does a great job playing an evil kid. And yeah, I put evil in air quotes because, again, they're just dead kids possessing animatronics being controlled by a serial killer. And lastly, I love the little references to the games. There's a small ambient sound that was in FNAF 3. The original jump scare noise is heard when Foxy runs down the hall. And there's a weird character that was in the book, but I don't really know anything about them. There's also a Easter egg to an old FNAF hoax, Sparky the dog, who was allegedly in the backstage area of FNAF 1. And the cameos are great. Matt Pat and Corey Kenshin are great choices to have for a FNAF movie. I'm pretty sure Corey Kenshin was one of the first YouTubers to have met Scott Cawthon. If I'm probably wrong on that. And MatPat pretty much made FNAF series popular, and Corey was just hilarious with the small role he was given. But unfortunately, despite loving this movie, I do have a few minor issues. I think the conversations could have been cut a bit better. There's a scene where Mike and Vanessa are talking about Garrett, and they abruptly start to talk about Abby, which is a bit jarring. And I don't like the Aunt Jane subplot all that much. It doesn't really go anywhere, and it only ends when she is abruptly killed in the third act. It kind of seems like a waste of a character because right before Mike was about to leave to go to the pizzeria, she talks to him about wanting to talk after he comes back. And I was thinking that would be a good payoff for the subplot, but she's unfortunately killed by Golden Freddy. Or knocked out. We don't really know. It's kind of ambiguous. I think they're going to bring her back in the sequel. I kind of hope not, if I'm being honest. But that's... I also don't like how the knights aren't framed like knights in the game. Like, you can tell that Night was not what Night 1 is, what Night 2, what Night 3, etc. But I think little title cards would have made the movie have a more Five Nights feel. Like flat, at the start of the game when you get a Night 1 title card. But that's honestly all I have for negatives. And now I want to give out an idea I have for a possible sequel. I think for the first sequel they should introduce Henry, who, if you don't know in the lore of the games, Henry is William Afton's partner that helped maybe make the animatronics. Not the ones in the first game, but the ones in the... like Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. I think that's the ones they made together. Don't count me on that. I haven't really... I pay attention to the lore. I think I'm misremembering. He could be... but instead of like being like... I think you can make it like a twist where at first he could be the showboating douchebag that is only profiting off of his work. And you can set it in Fazbear Frights, the setting that was in the third game. I think having the second one... Oh, my bad. You can also have it be set 2 years later. Abby could drag Mike to the attraction, and they could get trapped by William, and the whole movie could take place there. No subplots with Aunt Jane if she is alive. And I also think having the second one set in the second game's pizzeria wouldn't work because it would only work as a prequel. But they could probably sprinkle in some like flashbacks of it. Because that would be a lot of work for for the people who made the animatronics, which was Jim Henson's Creature Shop. But yeah, that's pretty much my idea. And so to close out, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is a great adaptation that I really enjoyed, and I hope that this results in a trilogy, which, considering the fucking box office numbers so far, it's getting a fucking sequel. For right now, I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. It could have been better without the Aunt Jane subplot. Thanks for watching my review. Let me know what you thought about Five Nights at Freddy's. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Put it down in the comments. But for now, thanks for watching, and take care.